Hello everyone, welcome back to Total Football Talk. So we're going to look at all the latest news coming out of Manchester United, and as always, there's bloody loads of it. There's absolutely tons of it at the minute, and the main concern is what we're going to start with. We're going to look into the injuries that are currently surrounding Manchester United on our trip to Tottenham, and we have quite a few problems to kind of contend with, which is a bit of a nightmare. So we'll look at who's out for the match tomorrow. We'll also look at Ineos, more sackings, and how this was talked about with the staff, and it was in the press before Ineos actually came out and started talking about it to the press, which is a little bit strange. Manchester United sent to appoint a new sporting, not a director, but a guy from PSG who's going to deal with the business side of sports for Manchester United, which is an interesting one. There's obviously a little update on Jadon Sancho and the profit that we could earn from him, which is interesting as well. Protests whenever United play Arsenal in March. That's the 1958 crew are going to be out protest. Well, not them, but obviously they're initiated it, and looks like there's going to be a protest in regards to Jim Radcliffe and his ownership of Manchester United along with the Glazers. So yeah, we'll have a look at that. Quenda and Mora signings. We're back to talking about these kids again, and millions of pounds that I don't know where we're getting from. And we'll finally look at a little bit about Urgate, who we'll start with as well. But yeah, we'll look at the end about his current stats, which are really interesting. But the breaking news is that Manchester United were without Mainoo. Looks like he's injured for a while. There's no sort of we don't actually know how long he's going to be out for, but he is going to be out for a while, which is really frustrating. And we've also lost Urgate and Toby Collyer. Well, they're both 50-50, I think, for Sunday's game. So, we are heavily reliant on Casemiro to step in and do a job. When the last time we played against Newcastle, he stepped in, and he might as well have just stepped straight back off the pitch again, because he was left for dust in that particular game. Now, I'm not saying he can't do a job. I just don't know whether he's going to be able to cope with the with Spurs midfield. They could run all over us, and if they do, we're in massive trouble. It's really frustrating. We don't know why these players are injured. We know that Rubin Amorim has obviously had 8 days training with them, and I can believe the training was probably very intense, and Manchester United players maybe are just not fit enough to kind of deal with it. I don't know. We'll hopefully get more news as the day breaks. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. But yeah, very frustrating on that one, because I knew that there was stories going around. I heard that Ahmad was injured. I mean, God forbid we can't afford to lose anyone. And I know the league isn't our priority, so we hope to have everyone back, or as many back, for the cup games, which I believe are more important. But we still need points in the league. We still need to find a way to get some more points on that board. Despite the teams at the bottom being absolutely dreadful, Leicester lost again today. So they're not really accumulating points to catch us. But things are not very, they're not sitting very well for us in the league. They're absolutely dreadful. Worst kind of league standing in the Premier League's history for Manchester United at the minute. It was absolutely shocking. But yeah, so that's where we are with the kind of headline story. Guys, also, thank you very much for everyone who's tuning in. The viewing figures are brilliant. I'm loving it. I'm really delighted. And I just had a quick look that 75% of people who are returning to watch the material haven't subscribed yet. So if you get a chance, if you could just hit that subscribe button, bottom right hand corner of the screen, that would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for everyone who is coming back. Your support is really appreciative. Totally, can't ask for more. I'm a tiny channel, and there's those kind of the behemoths out there that are brilliant and do really well what they do. So thank you very much for joining me on these little 10-minute segments for returning. If you could hit that subscribe button, it'd be absolutely amazing. We like to go along with it. We'd really appreciate it. Right, enough of me. Let's move on with the Ineos. So the Ineos sackings that was coming out. So Ineos sent out the following email to Manchester United employees this evening. I think it was yesterday evening. We are aware that media reports this week speculating on a number of issues relating to the club. We recognise this is unsettling for all of you in terms of what has been reported. There's no further information we can share with you at this point. However, we will hold a brief meeting on Monday, the 24th of February at 2:30, during which time we will be able to talk to you further. It will come as no surprise that the club may must explore every option, including reducing costs and raising revenues. There's no final decision yet. So all that really boils down to, for where I am, is it's a shambles. We are going to sack more people. These poor people are going to be out of a job. I kind of know what that's like at the minute. I work in TV, and the sector I work in has kind of fallen off a cliff, so I've been kind of left out to hung to dry. So I really understand what these people, the fear that's kind of floating in the background. How you're going to pay your mortgage, how you're going to feed your kids, how you're going to keep a roof over your head, rent, whatever it is you're going to be doing. These poor people, and I'm not saying all these jobs are necessary, but Manchester United are absolutely a shambles on the pitch. We've got players that are on hundreds of thousands of pounds of contracts that aren't even fit to play, and they're having to cut people's wages and release more people from the club. Now, as I said, maybe there's a lot of jobs that could be trimmed back a bit, but I mean, they're trimming back a lot of jobs, and the press are obviously getting information leaked, I'm not sure from who, and then Manchester United are having to respond to the staff to kind of ease their fears. But at the same time, within that statement, there's no fears being eased, because there's pure panic probably behind the scenes of people wondering whether the livelihood's going to be taken away from them. So my kind of heart goes out to them, because that is not an easy situation to be in. And as I said, having been through something very similar recently, I totally get it. Absolutely, it's an absolute nightmare. So that's where we are with that little bit of news. So we'll move on to the next little bit, and this is, Manchester United set to appoint Mark Armstrong as the club's chief business officer, who's expected to begin work at Old Trafford within weeks. So Manchester United concluded lengthy negotiations with PSG, where he has successfully been the directing their financial strategy since 2022. Armstrong is considered a top-level commercial operator. Now, obviously, we haven't got a sporting director, but we're going to get a commercial operator. And maybe since Ed Woodward and the clowns have kind of departed the club, maybe we are short in a couple of departments there. But again, it's interesting. We let Dan Ashworth go, and we haven't replaced him. And it looks like other people are picking up his responsibilities. Jason Wilcox has been kind of labelled in along that, and Fravel as well. I believe that we still need a sporting director if we're actually going to do this right. I actually don't know if we can afford one. Are we sacking people so we can afford, sacking maybe hundreds of people so we can afford a couple of high-end positions? Is that money that they're talking about, these cost cuttings, going to be going back into the team? But I just can't see how cutting staff is going to fund players. It just seems ridiculous to me. It doesn't make any sense at all. As I said, players sitting on the bench that are in the treatment room that are on hundreds of thousands of pounds, that's we should really be looking at first. So, okay, we'll move on to the next little bit, and this is an interesting one. This is from, I think it was floating around on the internet, and they broke down the Sancho deal. So Jadon Sancho's sale for 25 million will represent a 10.4 million pound profit, as his remaining amortized costs will be 14.6 million at the end of the season. His sale and wages will, coming off the books, will represent a positive PSR impact of 30.2 million for next year's PSR period. Now, the thing about this that's interesting is that obviously poor Jadon Sancho, Mr. Freedom Fighter himself, is struggling at Chelsea. He's had since he's kind of come up with that tweet, he's fallen off a cliff. I don't think I think he was kind of falling off the cliff anyway, but I think he's been struggling. I watched him yesterday when he came on. He was terrible. If we can make a small profit from him, that's good, but it's not great. I'm not getting excited by it. We should be able to buy players and sell them on and make a profit. I mean, this is only because he's faltered and failed, and we've managed to scramble together a little bit of money together for him. And it'll help PSR, brilliant. But is that money going to go back in this squad? I have no idea. Get your comments in below, guys, please. Obviously, we've talked about a few things. If you've got anything to shout about, absolutely shout them in the comments. Let's be having yous. As I said, Mike and Mark, thank you very much for all your comments so far. Really, really appreciate them, guys. Anyone else want to shout in there? I would really, really appreciate that too. Okay, we'll move on to the next little bit. And Manchester United have announced that there's a new protest. But angry Manchester United fans. Sorry, not Manchester United. They're protesting against themselves. That'd be funny. The 1958 protest has announced a new. Sorry, my kids are absolutely screaming their heads off downstairs playing Fortnite. So the protest group have announced a new protest which will take place against Arsenal on the 9th of March. We are angry and the fans are angry, and it's been building for some time. So the 1958 are going to need to are going to have this. Sorry, my kids are driving me mad. We're going to have to. There will be a protest. Let's see what happens. Obviously, we know what happened during the last protest. It was absolutely crazy. We got the game closed. The game shut down against Liverpool. And, you know, I'm not condoning that we do anything similar, but I do think that we need to protest against all the changes that the Glazers and Ineos are currently taking at the minute, because it's vitally important and it's an absolute mess. Okay, so that's where we are with the protest. Now, a little bit of transfer news, which is funny. Multiple reports are coming out that Manchester United are heavily involved with the signing of Mora and Quenda. Quenda is apparently done deal, according to reports from over in Portugal, and that United want both players. Now, all I'll say on this is I don't know how this actually works. I actually have no idea how we make these deals work, because, you know, there's 100 million plus for two players in and around. Well, maybe Quenda will come on a bit less, maybe 70, 80 million. I just can't see Manchester United. I don't know where they're getting the money from. Even if we sell Garnacho and Jadon Sancho and we sell Rashford, and if we get Champions League football, then maybe we could bring in a couple of young players. But again, they're young, there's no experience, and we are faltering again to that whole scenario of praying that the youth kind of can carry this massive club forward. And I just not a fan of that. Fan of these players, yeah. You know, got interesting prospects, could be very, very good for us, but it's a lot of money for a lot of kids. And then we will move on to, there was a little bit about sort of Rubin Amorim in his press conference, but I thought was quite interesting. He was talking about, he started with the 4-4-2 when he started coaching, because he played in that system for a long time. Many teams were built with three, and it was sometimes difficult to defend in a 4-4-2. I watch a lot of football, like Italian football, and there were the three defenders, so it happened naturally with the need of the moment. One of the big influences also was Johan Cruyff's Barcelona. Now, obviously, I don't believe Cruyff played a 3-4-3, but he did play total football where players could interchange between themselves, and you know, players could play all over the pitch. And I believe that Rubin Amorim would like his players to be able to play in several different positions. I'm already seeing that with the likes of Dogu coming in. He's played on the right. He'll play on the left tomorrow. You know, he wants players that are adaptable, changeable, and that can kind of move around the pitch. And I think that's where the Cruyff philosophy comes in. And obviously, he has a touch of he's influenced by Italian football and Italian defending. So, you know, I think that will be very, very interesting going forward, to see whether he sticks to his guns on these ones, or whether he bows down to all the press and how they want to change everything. And then we'll just look at the last little bit, and this is how important Urgate is. So obviously he's potentially 50-50. Urgate is the only midfielder across Europe's top 5 leagues to have maintained a passing accuracy of over 85% while making 4 tackles sort of per 90. You know, minimum of 1,000 minutes played. So win the ball, pass the ball, as they say. Keep it simple. Urgate is very important to Manchester United. He's doing very well, and it's going to be a shame we actually lose him. Okay, guys, that's all the news. As I said, please hit the like and subscribe. I really, really appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next one.